Incredible rescue revealed, heartwarming journey of a bald eagle saved from a giant anaconda in the heart of a quaint rural community, where the sky stretched blue like a promise and the white picket fences framed every yard, lived a hero named Jake. This wildlife rehabilitator, known for his tireless dedication to the creatures and the people around him, had one true centerpiece to his world, his young daughter, Lily. Each day started with the sweet sound of her laughter, echoing through their small home filled with the scent of pancakes and sunshine. Despite their financial struggles, those mornings were filled with warmth, with Jake making sure Lily knew she was cherished, even amid looming shadows of uncertainty. But life had a way of flipping the script. One sunny afternoon, as Jake mended the wing of a local sparrow, his phone rang, slicing through the serenity. "Jake. You've got to get to the conservation area. There's a bald eagle trapped, ensnared by an anaconda." Panic surged through his veins instantly. A rare bald eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom, needed him. The locals loved to whisper about his work, they saw it as impractical daydreaming. But this was his chance to prove them wrong. With Lily's wide eyes reflecting concern, Jake knelt down. "You believe in me, right?" he asked, his voice steady, but the quiver in his stomach told a different story. "Of course, Daddy," she chirped, a smile stretched across her face. He kissed her forehead, the resolve blooming in his chest. He would face the wild risks ahead, not only for the eagle but to honor the love Lily had inspired within him. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Through the foliage, Jake ventured deeper into the thicket, where treachery danced alongside nature's beauty. The whispers of doubt from his neighbors echoed in his mind, a reminder of the prejudice surrounding wildlife enthusiasts. He felt the weight of their disdain, but also the unwavering support from a few local veterans who appreciated his grit. "Keep going, Jake. This town's got your back," they said. Their words fueled him, kindling courage as he approached the tangled, dangerous scene ahead. As the thick underbrush parted, one glimpse of the majestic eagle, a fierce spirit caught in a battle against the slithering anaconda, sent a shiver down his spine. The eagle's cries pierced the air, a call for help resonating deep within Jake's heart. Each second felt like a lifetime, weighing heavily on his conscience. He wasn't just fighting for the eagle, he was battling the very prejudices that threatened to define not only his life but his daughter's future as well. Jake breathed in deeply, a tightness in his chest blossoming into fierce determination. Would he risk everything to save this creature and, in turn, reshape how his community viewed those who dared to chase their dreams? As he edged closer to the scene, the stakes climbed higher. With the anaconda lurking menacingly and the eagle's cries echoing through the trees, could Jake find the strength to save both the majestic creature and his own family's future? The forest held its breath, and so did he. Jake's heart thundered in his chest as he crouched behind a thick bush, his eyes locked on the scene. The eagle's wings flapped desperately against the coils of the anaconda, catching glimpses of beautiful feathers that gleamed in the sunlight. But those feathers were now marred with dirt and panic. Jake clenched his fists, the desperation in the eagle's eyes mirroring the fear he felt deep inside. He knew he had to act quickly. The longer he waited, the tighter the snake's grip would become. Jake glanced around, his mind racing through the tricks he learned from years of rehabilitation. Trusting his instincts, he zeroed in on a branch that was lying on the ground nearby. It was sturdy enough to fend off the snake but thin enough to maneuver between the struggling eagle and its captor. Taking a calming breath, he steadied himself and whispered a quick prayer for courage. He could almost hear Lily's laughter in the back of his mind, reminding him of the strength he carried within. With the branch in hand, he stepped from behind the foliage, adrenaline fueling his movements. The anaconda's head turned sharply, fixating on Jake's presence. Its yellow eyes glinted with menace, and an icy fear coursed through Jake's veins. But he couldn't let that stop him. Not today. Hey! You! He yelled, his voice strong, trying to draw the snake's attention away from the eagle. The snake flicked its tongue, tasting the air, its muscular body tightening around the bird. Jake could see the fear in the eagle's eyes as they locked onto his. It was a shared moment, a silent connection between a rescuer and the rescued, both yearning for freedom. In one swift motion, Jake lunged forward, brandishing the branch like a sword. He swung it towards the snake, connecting with a dull thud against its body. The anaconda hissed, shifting its focus entirely onto him. He felt his pulse race as he repeated the motion, forcing the creature to unravel its coils slightly. The eagle took advantage of the moment, using its powerful wings to push against the constricting body. With each desperate flap, it managed to loosen itself just enough to free one talon. Jake's heart soared alongside the eagle's spirit. He pushed against the panic, knowing this was a chance they could not waste. With determination surging, he struck the snake again, this time harder. "Come on! You've got to get out of here!" Jake shouted at the eagle, urging it like a coach rallying a player. Then something unexpected happened. The eagle locked its gaze with his, a spark igniting in its golden eyes. It must have sensed his resolve. With a mighty thrust, it took flight, soaring over the tangled forest. Freedom! A breathtaking moment, it glided gracefully above the trees, the sun illuminating its majestic wings. But as relief washed over Jake, he noticed the anaconda still coiled on the ground, irritated and ready to strike. He hadn't freed himself yet. Drawing a deep breath, Jake realized the battle wasn't over. Not yet. He needed to ensure that both the eagle and he could walk away from this. With renewed purpose, he faced the snake head-on, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "All right, then let us finish this." The air crackled with tension. Would he have the strength to face this menace alone? And would the eagle return to help him in more ways than one? As the anaconda writhed, Jake stood his ground. The forest held its breath again, and so did he, waiting for the moment they would know who would emerge victorious. Jake felt the weight of the world pressing down on him as he faced the anaconda. Its scales shimmered like dark jewels in the dappled light of the forest, shifting and rippling as it prepared to strike. Every muscle in his body was taut, every fiber of his being focused on this life and death moment. "Just me and you," he said under his breath, gripping the branch tighter. The sound of his own heartbeat echoed in his ears. He recalled his training, how to outsmart an opponent, how to anticipate their moves. He just hoped the stakes didn't involve his life today. The anaconda lunged forward, an explosive movement that sent dirt scattering in a cloud. Jake dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding its powerful jaws. The adrenaline surged through him, and his instincts kicked in hard. He swung the branch at the snake with all his strength, aiming not just to defend himself, but to drive the creature back. "Stay away from me!" he yelled, his voice breaking the thick silence of the forest. The snake recoiled, hissing angrily, its tongue flicking through the air. Jake could see its muscles taut with fury, and he knew he wasn't out of danger yet. He took another breath, steadying himself. This had to work. He was fighting for not only his own life but the hope that he could find some way to protect the fragile ecosystem around him. Out of nowhere, a rush of wings swept through the air. Jake's heart skipped a beat as he turned to see the eagle return, its wings spread wide, casting a big shadow over the ground. In that instant, he felt a surge of hope. "Yes. Come on!" he shouted, as the bird dove toward the snake. The anaconda's attention snapped to the eagle, its eyes wild with confusion. It was a split-second opening, and Jake charged forward. "Now!" he yelled, waving the branch in the air, directing the eagle's dive. The eagle, as if understanding the unspoken command, swooped low, striking at the snake's head with its talons. The anaconda writhed in response, its grip loosening as it tried to protect itself. With one coordinated attack, Jake swung the branch hard against the creature's body again, forcing it to finally uncoil completely. "Get out of here!" he urged the eagle, who had come soaring back to his side. The majestic bird circled above, as if waiting for Jake to make his next move. Jake felt the possibility of victory blooming within him. He took one more strong swing, knocking the snake aside, understanding that every ounce of his strength was worth it. It was a moment of solidarity, man and beast working as one, and it filled him with a joy he hadn't expected. But then, the anaconda halted its thrashing. Its body froze, and for a moment everything slowed. Jake caught his breath, his eyes locked on the serpent. Was this the moment he had been waiting for? Had he finally won? Suddenly, with a flick of its tail, the anaconda retreated into the underbrush, hissing ominously as it disappeared into the shadows. Jake stood there, panting and on edge, heart racing as the thrill of survival coursed through him. The eagle landed beside him, its feathers ruffled but its eyes bright and knowing. They had emerged victorious, but the experience left Jake shaken. He faced danger head-on and won, but the encounter had also stirred something deeper within him, a recognition of the natural world's fierce struggle and beauty. "Thank you," he whispered, reaching out a hand. The eagle hopped closer, tilting its head, as if acknowledging his gratitude. But as they shared that moment of connection, Jake couldn't help but wonder, what other dangers lurked in the forest, how many more animals were caught in battles they could not win. And more importantly, could he find a way to help them all? With both pride and uncertainty weighing on his heart, he realized his journey had only just begun. Jake knelt on the forest floor, still feeling the rush of adrenaline rush through him. The sounds of the jungle were loud and vibrant, a stark contrast to the silence that had hung like a cloud over the confrontation. He looked down at the eagle, its feathers catching the light, glinting like gold. The bird seemed to reflect the emotions swirling inside him: strength, vulnerability, and an unspoken bond formed in battle. As he reached out to the powerful creature, memories of what had just transpired flashed vividly in his mind. That snake had been a formidable opponent, but it was more than just a test of physical skill. It was a reminder of the fragility of life and the dramatic struggle for survival that existed in the wild. Where do we go from here? He wondered aloud, looking into the eagle's intelligent eyes. The bird tilted its head as if pondering the question. Jake's heart fluttered with the possibilities of what lay ahead. There were more animals in peril, more threats lurking in the shadows of the trees. He felt an urge to understand this new reliance on the eagle, to discover if it would join him in his quest. Turning, Jake scanned the forest. It was alive with potential dangers and untold mysteries. The rustling leaves and distant calls of wildlife hung in the air, whispering secrets he longed to uncover. "What do you think? Should we search for others?" The eagle flapped its wings, a response that felt like enthusiasm. With newfound resolve, Jake stood up and took a deep breath, smelling the earthy scent of the forest mixed with the lingering adrenaline of their confrontation. He would be a protector. With the eagle soaring above him, Jake set off into the heart of the forest. Each step felt lighter as the weight of fear was replaced with hope. They moved through the trees, navigating the underbrush and surveying the vibrant life all around them. Brightly colored birds called from the treetops, and the rustle of small animals stirred in the grass below. The forest, teeming with life, held so many more stories that needed to be uncovered. As they ventured deeper, Jake's thoughts sharpened on the purpose that had ignited within him. He wanted to be a champion of these creatures, those who struggled silently. The eagle, a proof of his commitment, glided gracefully above him, a symbol of their shared mission. He came upon a clearing bathed in sunlight, the foliage retreating to reveal a glistening pool of water. It was serene, but just as he felt a moment of peace, a loud splash broke the tranquility. His heart raced again as he raced toward the sound, determined. What he saw stopped him in his tracks. A small deer had stumbled into the water, struggling to regain its footing and panicking under the weight of the muddy reeds. "Oh no," he breathed, the reality of the situation dawning on him. The deer was trapped, and the panic in its eyes mirrored what he had seen only moments ago with the anaconda. Jake felt the urgency swell within him. "We can't leave it like this," he exclaimed, looking up at the eagle for support. With one last glance at the struggling creature, Jake charged forward into action. It was one thing to face a snake, but this was survival at its rawest. He was about to dive into yet another battle, one that he hoped would yield a different outcome. As he splashed toward the doe, determination filled him. Would the deep connections he had forged in this majestic forest help him save another soul in peril? The answer wasn't clear to him just yet, but as his heart raced with purpose, he knew that whatever rolled out next would be as vital as the clashes he had faced before. Jake's journey was still unfolding, and the stakes were rising with every moment. The frigid water engulfed Jake's legs, sending a chill up his spine. He pushed through the reeds, heart pounding in his chest. The deer thrashed, sending droplets spraying like tiny diamonds in the sunlight. Jake's eyes were fixed on those terrified eyes, gleaming with fear and confusion. "Hang on, little one!" he shouted, trying to drown out its panicked bleats. The eagle circled above, feathers ruffling in the wind, its sharp gaze focused on the chaos below. Jake felt a surge of confidence as he remembered the bond they had developed. He wasn't alone in this fight. He was a protector now, and the eagle was his ally. As he got closer to the deer, he took a moment to assess the situation. The muddy reeds were thick and tangled. They grew out of the bank, like grasping hands trying to pull the fawn under. Jake carefully knelt to get a better grip, his hands sinking into the muck. With each splashing step, he aimed to reach the struggling creature who, despite its fear, looked up at him with a flicker of hope. "Just a little longer," Jake said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. The deer blinked rapidly, its eyes darting in panic. Jake grasped for the doe, fingers curling tightly around its shoulder as he gently pulled. It fought against the water, legs kicking instinctively. A sudden jolt of pain shot through his hand as one of its hooves connected, but he didn't relent. Instead, he dug deeper into determination. With a final, desperate yank, he managed to pull the deer free of the muck's grasp. It stumbled on the bank, its legs shaky, but the panic that had clouded its eyes started to fade as it realized it was no longer trapped. Jake caught his breath, heart still thumping wildly in his chest, sweat mingling with the cold droplets from the water. The eagle landed by his side, its wings folded gracefully against its body, watching the scene with alertness. Jake turned to the deer, who stood blinking and trembling, and his heart swelled. "You're safe now," he whispered, knowing the creature couldn't comprehend his words but hoping it could feel the reassurance. Slowly, the deer began to regain its composure. It took a hesitant step away from Jake, then another. And just like that, it was gone, bounding back into the embrace of the trees, a silhouette of grace and beauty against the vibrant green backdrop. Jake let out a breath he didn't know he was holding, a sense of triumph washing over him. "Did you see that?" he said to the eagle, who let out a satisfied screech, as if to say, "Yes, together we can do this." A grin cracked on Jake's face, he couldn't shake the exhilaration of saving the deer. It was a taste of hope, a promise of a purpose he had never known he needed. Yet, even in his moment of joy, a thought nagged at him. While they had saved one life, how many more were there waiting unnoticed? "We can't stop here," he told the eagle, resolve tightening like a rope around his heart. "There are more who need us." As they started to move deeper into the forest, Jake couldn't shake the eerie feeling creeping in. He sensed the shadows growing heavier, the silence heavier than before. It was as if the jungle was holding its breath, waiting for the next twist in their journey. Little did he know, lurking not far away, was a danger that would challenge everything he had worked for. The call to adventure had only just begun, and the stakes were about to get much higher. Would he be ready for the trials that lay ahead? The sunlight dimmed as Jake and the eagle ventured deeper into the heart of the forest. Each step felt heavier, as if the ground itself was cautioned by an unspoken tension. The air became thick with an unfamiliar scent, damp earth mixed with something sharp and predatory, the kind of smell that made a chill run down his spine. "Stay close, buddy," he murmured to the eagle, who perched lightly on his shoulder, feathers brushing his neck. They moved in silence, Jake scanning the depths of the foliage for any signs of distress. Suddenly, the serenity shattered. A piercing screech echoed through the trees, sending a wave of urgency crashing over Jake. He jerked his head in the direction of the sound, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "What was that?" he whispered, more to reassure himself than the eagle. They moved cautiously, Jake's heart pounding in rhythm with his quickened breath. The screech came again, longer and filled with a raw pain that twisted in Jake's gut. He felt a pull, an instinct that urged him forward. There was something or someone in trouble. As they approached a clearing, a shocking sight lay before them. A massive anaconda coiled tightly around the trunk of a tree, its scales glistening ominously in the fading light. The source of the shrieks, a small bald eagle, was ensnared in the snake's powerful grip, wings flapping desperately against the constrictor's strength. No, no, no. Jake gasped, his heart clenched in a panic. The sight was heartbreaking. We have to help. Without thinking, Jake rushed forward, a wild compassion overriding any hesitations. The eagle clinging to his shoulder let out a series of frantic screeches, as if to warn him of the danger. But Jake was already in motion. He grabbed a large branch from the ground, its sturdy weight grounding him even as his heart raced with fear. The anaconda turned, its eyes glinting like cold marble, locking onto Jake's presence as he approached. He felt his breath hitch, but he couldn't back down now. Get away from him! He yelled, raising the branch over his head and charging with all he had. The moment stretched painfully. Jake swung the branch with all his might, the impact landing squarely against the snake. The anaconda hissed, loosening its grip just enough for the little eagle to slip free, its tiny body tumbling onto the forest floor. As Jake prepared to swing again, he spotted the eagle's wing fragile, but whole. Relief flooded through him, causing his heart to beat in a rapid staccato of hope, but his victory was short-lived. The anaconda roared in anger, shifting its focus to him with a low, menacing growl. The creature's body tensed, coiling like a spring ready to snap. The predator was now on the hunt. Go! Fly! Jake shouted, waving his arms frantically at the released eagle, desperate to guide it to safety. As he turned to deal with the snake, he felt the earth shift beneath him. The anaconda lunged, aiming to strike and that split second, Jake's mind raced. He didn't have time to think, only to react. Could he fend off this threat and protect both himself and the injured eagle? Fate had led him here for a reason, and somehow, he had to find a way to turn this impending chaos into another chance for life. Would he become the protector he longed to be, or was he now caught in a web of danger he could not escape? As the anaconda surged forward, Jake braced himself, ready to face whatever came next. The forest, alive with tension, awaited the outcome. Would courage rise to meet the challenge ahead? Jake instinctively dropped low, feeling the rush of air as the anaconda lunged just above him. The sheer size of the serpent sent tremors of fear coursing through his body. Time stretched out as he rolled to the side, barely escaping its grasp, heart hammering like a war drum in his chest. Come on, Jake. Think. He urged himself, scrambling to his feet. The little eagle flapped nervously at his feet, its golden eyes wide with fear. Jake knew he had to do something, and fast. He cast another glance at the anaconda, noting how its massive coils shifted, muscles rippling beneath the skin, readying for another strike. Stay back! He shouted, positioning himself between the snake and the fragile eagle before him. An idea sparked in his mind. Nearby was a large boulder. If he could maneuver to it, perhaps he could use it to his advantage. With determination, he darted to the side, luring the anaconda's attention away from the eagle. As the creature turned, Jake sprinted, feeling the weight of adrenaline pushing him onward. The thud of the snake's body behind him was terrifying, but he couldn't look back. He had to keep his focus on survival. He reached the boulder and leapt, climbing onto it to gain a higher vantage point. Get up! He shouted to the little eagle, hoping it would understand he was trying to help. The eagle, still fluttering nervously, finally lifted itself off the ground and flew awkwardly towards Jake, landing on the rock beside him. Good, you made it. Relief washed over him, but there was no time to dwell. He could feel the ground shaking as the anaconda channeled its rage. Jake grabbed another branch and waved it, using it as a makeshift spear. Leave us alone! He shouted, the sound echoing through the trees. The snake halted, its beady eyes narrowing at Jake. A tense standoff ensued. He could sense the air thickening with a mix of primal fear and instinctual courage. Every part of him screamed to run, but he knew that retreating now meant risking everything. The eagle's life was in his hands. "Come on, buddy. We're going to get out of this," he whispered to the eagle, who seemed to understand just a little. It gazed back at him, and for a moment, Jake felt they were connected by more than just survival. This little creature had been through terror, yet still managed to show a glimmer of hope. Then it happened without warning. The anaconda charged again, coiling and striking towards him with fierce speed. Jake's instincts kicked in. He aimed his branch, swinging it toward the snake. The impact connected, and for a second, the creature hesitated. Seizing the opportunity, Jake jumped off the boulder, adrenaline surging, and rushed toward the snake's head. "Now!" he shouted at the eagle. To his surprise, the little bird took flight, swooping overhead with newfound confidence, as if fueled by his determination. It circled high, letting out a sharp cry that rang through the forest. Jake's heart soared as he saw the anaconda momentarily distracted, angling its massive head to follow the eagle instead. "Go! Keep flying!" Jake yelled, but he wasn't watching the eagle anymore. Right in front of him, the anaconda lunged again, its jaws snapping perilously close. It was now or never. Jake leaped to the side, rolling across the forest floor and scrambling to his feet. He was determined, fueled by the desire to protect the innocent beneath his care. But in that moment of chaos, he lost sight of one crucial thing. In the thick of the battle, he also had to find a way to escape. Just then, the eagle dove, striking the soft skin above the anaconda's eyes. The snake hissed loudly, raising its head in a powerful arc. "That's it!" Jake yelled, a wild idea hitting him. As the anaconda bucked its body to shake off the eagle, Jake spotted a narrow path veering left behind the snake. If he could reach it, maybe, just maybe, they could escape this nightmare together. He made a break for it, his heart pounding with every step. Would they make it out alive, or would the forest turn to a graveyard for bravery? As he raced toward hope, he could still hear the eagle's cries echoing in the woods, urging him on. But would that plea be enough to save them? Jake's feet pounded against the thick underbrush, each step drawing him closer to that sliver of hope. The narrow path quickly swallowed him up, the surrounding foliage brushing against his legs as if the forest itself were trying to hold him back. He glanced over his shoulder, just in time to see the anaconda thrashing in anger behind him. The creature's muscles coiled and unfurled like a raging river, and for a moment, fear gripped Jake's chest. "Come on, keep moving," he shouted, his voice echoing against the tall trees. He could hear the eagle above, its wings cutting through the air as it deftly dodged the snake's wrath. The connection he shared with the little bird pushed him onward. They were fighting together, against all odds. Jake focused on the path ahead, a tangle of roots and rocks that threatened to trip him. He stumbled, but he caught himself just in time. Breathless and desperate, he forged ahead, his instincts screaming that he needed distance between himself and the anaconda. It felt like freedom was so close, yet so far. The sounds of the forest began to fade into the background, replaced by the deep, rhythmic pulses of the anaconda's pursuit. With every thud against the earth, the ground vibrated beneath his feet. But he couldn't afford to dwell on it. He had to believe in their escape. Suddenly, the eagle swooped low, wings beating fiercely against the humid air. It circled Jake and then flew ahead, calling out as if to guide him. "You're leading the way," he whispered, feeling a surge of gratitude. The eagle was more than just a bird now, it was a partner in survival. As Jake pushed through the last of the dense brush, the terrain opened up into a clearing illuminated by dappled sunlight breaking through the canopy. This was at an open space, a chance to run free. But then, a chill snaked up his spine. A rustling sound came from behind. The anaconda had found its rhythm, and it was closing in. "Stay strong," he shouted to the eagle, who perched on a nearby branch, its golden eyes fixed on him. The bond they shared had transformed, pushing them into a frenzy of survival. Jake spotted a fallen log ahead. It was risky, but it could serve as a barricade. If he could make it there, maybe he could slow the snake down. He dashed forward, launching himself over the log just in time. He landed awkwardly but regained his footing, adrenaline flooding his veins. From his precarious vantage point, Jake saw the anaconda slow as it approached the log, wary of this new obstacle. Now! Jake cried, urging the eagle forward. The bird took flight again, its wings cutting through air, drawing the snake's attention away once more. As the eagle soared above, Jake grabbed a branch from the ground, brandishing it like a sword. "You're not getting past me," he shouted, a spark of defiance igniting within him. Yet the ground shook with the anaconda's frustration. It was a game of wits now. Would he manage to outsmart this formidable creature, or would he become just another tail lost in the woods? The eagle circled high, letting out a series of sharp cries, calling for Jake, beckoning him to join in the escape. But the question lingered: was there time left? Jake felt something shift in him. This wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about courage, the desire to protect a life that mattered, even if it was just a little bird. He tightened his grip on the branch, ready for whatever came next. No more running. He would stand his ground, and maybe, just maybe, they could both survive the fight that loomed ahead. With the anaconda closing in, Jake squared his shoulders. He wasn't done yet. Victory or defeat hung in the balance, but he was ready to face whatever came next. Would they find a way to escape together, or would the forest claim another pair of hopeful hearts? Jake's heart raced as the anaconda hissed, its body undulating with a speed that belied its massive size. He raised the branch higher, feeling the rough bark scrape into his palm. This was at a moment where fear and bravery tangled, and he had to choose which would take the lead. With each breath he took, he could feel the weight of his choice. The eagle above flapped its wings fiercely, trying to distract the snake, but Jake knew the creature would turn its attention back to him soon. The branch, however, was a flimsy weapon against such a foe. A rush of determination surged through him. Jake wasn't alone in this. "Come on, buddy. We've got to work together." The words slipped out as he glanced up at his avian ally. The eagle responded with a piercing cry that echoed through the trees, a call for unity. The connection between them felt palpable, as if they were weaving their very souls into the fight for survival. The anaconda's head loomed closer now, its glistening scales reflecting the sun in ominous swirls of green and gold. Jake's instincts kicked in. He couldn't wait for the creature to strike. Timing was everything. As the snake cautiously approached the log, he cracked the branch against the ground, creating a loud thud that echoed through the clearing. The anaconda paused, momentarily distracted. Jake seized the moment. He dashed to the side, hoping to draw its gaze away from the eagle. "Come on!" he shouted, charging forward and waving the branch like a banner of defiance. The snake lunged, sensing the movement. Jake felt the air shift as it bore down on him with swiftness that took his breath away. But he was ready. He dove to the left, narrowly avoiding the massive fangs and feeling the hiss of wind against his skin. The eagle swooped down, catching the serpent's attention again. Its powerful wings were like a shield, a living signal of hope. Jake could hear the beating of its heart in perfect rhythm with his own. "Let it this way!" he shouted, knowing the eagle was his only chance to outsmart the behemoth. It cawed sharply, flapping its wings with such vigor, drawing the anaconda towards the far side of the clearing. With the predator momentarily distracted, Jake acted decisively. He scrambled over the log, wanting to place an additional barrier between himself and danger. Before he could settle into his new position, however, he felt the ground tremble once more. The anaconda, furious and relentless, coiled back, ready to approach again. Jake's eyes widened. His heart was pounding so hard he could barely hear himself think. "What do I do now?" he whispered, searching for an answer in the chaos swirling around him. The eagle alighted on a high branch, its keen eyes assessing the scene with purpose. Suddenly, it took off again, soaring high before diving low, as if it had a plan. Jake's adrenaline surged as he understood the eagle wanted to guide him to safety. "Let us go!" he yelled, pushing himself off the log and sprinting toward the edge of the clearing, trusting his friend above. Behind him, the snake reared back again, ready to lunge. There was no time to think, he just had to follow, but something caught his eye. Just beyond the clearing lay a thicket, a wall of dense undergrowth that the anaconda would struggle to navigate. "That's our way out," He shouted to the eagle, forcing himself forward, his legs moving faster than he thought they could. With the anaconda on his tail and the eagle soaring above, Jake raced toward the thicket. Hope flickered in his chest, even as fear threatened to sweep him under. Just when he thought he could make it, the sound of crunching leaves roared as the anaconda lunged again. Jake barely dodged this time, rolling past the edge of the thicket. He could feel victory slipping, like water through his fingers, but he was not done yet, and the eagle wasn't giving up either. Would they find their way through the tangle of roots and vines? Or would they face the wrath of the serpent? Jake's heartbeat quickened as he continued to push through the dense foliage, willing himself to survive. And at that moment, every breath felt like a determination forged anew. What lay on the other side of the thicket could be freedom or another trap. Would they escape together, or was this just the beginning of a much darker fight? Jake's muscles burned, but there was no stopping now. With the thicket just a few feet away, he felt a rush of adrenaline surge through him. The anaconda's powerful coils slithered closer, the sound of its body rustling behind him sent chills racing down his spine. "Let us do this," he shouted, pushing harder, the thorns and branches tearing at his clothes. The eagle called out again, a sharp, piercing sound that sliced through the tension and gave him a jolt of encouragement. He ducked beneath a low-hanging branch and finally burst through the thicket, tumbling onto the soft earth beyond. A quick glance back revealed the anaconda halting at the edge of the undergrowth, quivering with rage and frustration. "We made it," Jake breathed, disbelief washing over him. The immediate threat seemed to vanish, but the danger was far from over. The forest opened up into a small, serene glade. Sunlight blanketed the area in a warm embrace, and the air felt lighter, almost like a secret sanctuary waiting to be discovered. Jake steadied himself, sorting through the chaos of thought and emotion swirling within. He had saved one bird, but there were still countless creatures relying on his courage. The strength they had found in each other pulsed through his veins, igniting a new purpose. "What now?" he whispered to the eagle, who flapped its wings in response, eager to keep moving. It was unmistakable the bond they had formed was solidifying into something profound. "Okay, then," Jake said, his voice a mixture of determination and excitement. "Let us find others who need us." With an invigorated stride, he turned deeper into the forest, his heart boiling with hope and newfound bravery. The eagle flew above, guiding him with steady arcs, a silent promise of partnership. As they trekked through the greenery, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were meant to be in sync. Each step he took, he realized more and more that he wasn't just saving animals, the wild was teaching him about himself, too, about strength, hope, and resilience. The forest spoke in whispers, each sound a reminder of those truths. In the distance, they heard another cry, a desperate plea filled with fear. "That sounds like trouble," Jake exclaimed, his feet quickened as he raced towards the sound, the eagle gliding just ahead. He could hardly contain his excitement as he burst into another clearing. A small family of raccoons was nervously huddled around a tree. The youngest had become tangled in a vine, its eyes wide with fear as it struggled to break free. Jake's heart ached for the little creature. He approached cautiously, speaking softly to soothe the panicked family. "Hey there, little one. Don't worry, I'm here to help." The mother raccoon watched him warily while the eagle circled above, keeping a watchful eye. He knelt beside the trapped youngling, taking a deep breath to steady his racing heart. With careful hands, he began to untangle the vine, feeling the warmth of its tiny body beneath his fingers. "It's okay," he cooed, focusing all his energy on the rescue. "You're going to be all right." With one final tug, the vine gave way. The young raccoon sprang back and tumbled into its mother's paws, the two embracing with sighs of relief. Jake's gaze met the mother raccoon's, and understanding passed between them, one that promised gratitude and connection. "See?" he said to the eagle. "Together, we really can make a difference." There was power in their partnership, an impact that transcended words. The eagle screeched softly, as if to celebrate this new victory. Jake felt a wave of calmness wash over him. This was his path, to champion the voiceless and to ensure they'd have the chance to live freely. He could almost see the outlines of a grand adventure stretching ahead, filled with challenges that he and the eagle would meet together. "Let us keep looking," he urged the eagle, determination lighting his eyes once more. As they moved deeper into the heart of the forest, Jake felt the weight of purpose anchor him. Back at home, Lily would surely be waiting, and he couldn't wait to share these experiences with her. He wanted her to know the world was filled with wonders, but it also needed protectors, guardians of dreams and hope. In the fierce cries of the wildlife, he found lessons about love and resilience. And in every flutter of wings above him, Jake understood this was only the beginning. The bond with the eagle showed him the kind of strength he hoped to inspire within those he loved. With fingers interlaced with healing intention and a spirit fueled by love, Jake set forth on his journey, knowing that together, they would ignite change within both the forest and the hearts of all it touched. Together they would be the protectors. Protectors of wildlife, protectors of dreams, and protectors of a brighter future. Now it was time. Jake turned to the eagle, eyes sparkling with hope. "Let us go find our next adventure. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the next incredible stories and transformations that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Every click counts in sharing this passion. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. I want to hear from you. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this remarkable journey. Don't wait not even one more second. You're part of this community, and only true fans understand how vital your support is.